We assume death is a package deal. When the flesh fails, the mind follows. But there is a biological loophole. Your physical limbs can die, decay, or disappear completely, while your conscious mind remains perfectly awake, watching it happen. Or worse, your flesh can stay healthy while your brain goes entirely dark to its existence. You think you own your hands. You feel them typing, reaching, holding. But your brain has never actually seen your hands. It is a blind, 3-pound organ locked inside a pitch-black bone vault. To know what your limbs are doing, your brain relies entirely on a hidden, highly fragile data stream, a constant barrage of electrical signals secretly anchoring your conscious mind to your physical flesh. If that data stream drops by even a fraction of a percent, the illusion of ownership shatters. Patients who experience this drop describe their own limbs suddenly feeling like alien, dead lumps of dough inexplicably glued to their shoulders. Your physical body is merely a neurological hallucination that your brain agrees to believe. Without that continuous electrical tether, you are effectively a ghost haunting your own skeleton. In neurology, this hidden data stream has a specific name, proprioception. If you look at this abstract outline of the human body, you can see how it works. These glowing pathways represent sensors in your muscles, tendons, and joints, constantly streaming spatial coordinates up the spinal cord to the brain. Proprioception functions as the eyes of the body. It's the reason you can touch your nose with your eyes closed. Every time you take a step, reach for a cup, or shift your weight, this system updates your brain on the exact location and tension of every single muscle in real time without ever needing visual confirmation. It operates entirely below the level of your conscious awareness. Yet, proprioception is the only biological proof your isolated brain has that your body actually belongs to you. Clinically documented cases reveal exactly what happens when that internal map vanishes while the flesh stays healthy. The late neurologist Dr. Oliver Sacks treated patients who suffered catastrophic losses of this exact sense. They experienced something distinct from paralysis. They lost the ability to feel their physical bodies as their own. Sacks documented cases of severe sensory neuropathy, where patients possessed perfectly functional, healthy physical hands. Yet to the patients, those hands felt like dead, heavy lumps of plaster. They could not recognize a coffee cup placed in their palm without looking directly at it. This wireframe model illustrates the exact biological glitch. The basic sensory nerves, the ones that detect a pinprick or a hot stove, still work perfectly. The outer boundary registers the environment. But the internal perceptual map, the proprioception that tells the brain, "This hand is part of me," is completely empty. The sensation is intact, but the perception is dead. To survive, these patients are forced into a terrifying psychological reality. They must physically watch their limbs with their own eyes at all times. If they look away, they instantly lose track of where their arms and legs are. They have to use their vision to manually puppet their own meat. Having a physical, functional arm means absolutely nothing if your brain's internal map refuses to acknowledge its existence. Now look at the exact opposite clinical extreme. Amputees, who have had their physical limbs surgically removed, leaving nothing but a stump. Yet they feel the missing limb to be agonizingly, vividly alive. Neurologist V.S. Ramachandran studied these phantom limbs extensively. He proved that these ghostly appendages aren't just psychological coping mechanisms. Patients experience intense paralysis, cramping, and excruciating physical pain in hands and feet that literally do not exist. This sensory map of the cerebral cortex explains why. Your brain has a specific strip of tissue mapped to every body part. When an arm is amputated, its corresponding brain map doesn't die. It hungers for input. And because the map for the hand sits right next to the map for the face, the brain begins cross-wiring those neural pathways to generate false physical feelings. Ramachandran proved this visceral cross-wiring with a simple cotton swab. By touching specific spots on an amputee's physical cheek, the patient felt the sensation traveling directly down into their missing phantom fingers. A missing arm can feel alive, and a connected arm can feel dead. Physical reality is an illusion. Your brain's internal map is the only thing that dictates your physical existence. Which brings us to a highly uncomfortable question. If the mind relies entirely on this fragile data stream to possess the body, how do you chemically sever it? The medical answer is blunt: massive overdoses of vitamin B6, clinically known as pyridoxine toxicity. People caught up in megavitamin crazes, taking extreme doses of B6 to chase health trends, end up accidentally poisoning their nervous systems. The toxicity acts like a precise biological laser, specifically targeting and destroying the proprioceptive nerve fibers. High-dose B6 toxicity bypasses muscle tissue and skips the motor centers to target the proprioceptive fibers directly, a chemical deletion of the brain's internal map that officially separates the mind from the flesh. Patients who reach the end state of B6 toxicity become completely disembodied. Oliver Sacks described them as being like pithed frogs. The center has been scooped out. They are fully conscious, fully intelligent human beings, utterly unmoored from their physical form. We document these hidden failures of the human nervous system every week. If you don't hit subscribe, the algorithm might let this connection vanish, and you'll lose the rest of the research. Your body is not you. It's just a vehicle your brain is currently wired to perceive. Imagine the absolute horror of waking up tomorrow, your mind sharp and aware, only to realize the wires have been cut, leaving you locked forever inside a rotting meat suit you can no longer feel.